Get ready for all the action of the country's most exciting late model racing circuit. The Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series comes to the Bluegrass State at the King Family's Florence Speedway. It's a capacity crowd ready to go racing. You've got the best seat in the house here on Speed. The stars of the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series, including defending series champion Earl Pearson Jr., have roared into the greater Cincinnati area, and they're getting ready to do battle right here at Florence Speedway, Union, Kentucky. You're going to see all the excitement right here on Speed. Hi again, everyone. I'm Scott Douglas, James Essex alongside. We'll check in with Ken Stout in just a moment. But, James, let's begin with our K&N Filters track facts. Tell us more about this great facility.
It's been in operation for more than half a century. It's a half-mile high-bank dirt oval here in Florence Speedway. When it gets slick, they call it the black ice that they'll be racing on here later tonight.
They also have a very special tribute here at Florence Speedway to the all-time greats of dirt track racing. With more on that, let's go to our colleague Ken Stout. Get right to the starting grid. Jesse Lay's on the pole. Outside of row 1, Darrell Lanigan.
Row 2, Scott, will be Indiana's Greg Johnson, Illinois driver Steve Hillard alongside.
We talk about some legendary names in that Hall of Fame. How about the inside of row 3? It's Scott Bloomquist. He's joined on row 3 by Rod Conley.
Then you have Tennessee's Mike Marlar. He's on the inside of row number 4, and Wisconsin wildman Dan Schleeper alongside.
Not playing football, but doing some great dirt track racing. It's Jerry Rice on the inside of row 5. Wendell Wallace alongside.
Dan Horde from right here in Union, Kentucky, and Indiana's Mike Jewell.
Moving to row 7 on the inside, Steve Landrum, Shane Clanton on the outside.
Dale McDowell makes up inside of row number 8 alongside Rick Corbin.
To row number 9, it's Rick Eckert, who we'll hear more about in just a moment. And the outside of row 9, it's Robert Hensley.
The 10th row will be Florida's Earl Pearson Jr., the defending series champion, and Arkansas driver Jack Sullivan.
Row 11's a couple of Hoosier hot shoes. Scott James on the inside, Indiana's Don O'Neill on the outside.
Then you have a couple of Buckeye State drivers, Donnie Moran and Matt Miller.
And, of course, Bill Blair Jr. will round out the field. This star-studded lineup coming to green at Florence.
50 laps here tonight, the 20th annual Ralph Latham Memorial, Scott, and a packed grandstand here at Florence Speedway.
They are packed in. As you can see, it is already 3 wide. We're on board with Steve Landrum.
Steve Landrum, 6-time and defending Florence Speedway late model track champion here.
Well, what great shots. Also got it on board camera with the legendary Scott Bloomquist, and you can expect him to do some passing in this race.
He's a member of the National Dirt Late Model Hall of Fame. You talked about that earlier, and we got a great show going already so far, and local driver Darrell Lanigan out in front.
And they're already the big battle on for second place. As you talk about, Lanigan gets a bit of a breakaway, but you don't expect that to hang long. He wants to build up what he can because Bloomquist is coming, and you're riding along with Scott Bloomquist.
You see Lanigan already hitting into turn number 1. He's built about a 4 or 5 car length advantage over Bloomquist. Jesse James Lay holding down the 3rd spot. Then it's Schleeper and Johnson.
And that battle for 3rd is a dandy already, as you can see him sometimes going 3 wide here on this half-mile bank clay oval in Union, Kentucky, and it is just action-packed all around this racetrack already.
See the race right here between Schleeper, Jesse James Lay, and Greg Johnson. They call Jesse James Lay the last outlaw. What more fitting to be at Florence Speedway tonight to watch him race.
Already in the early laps, James, you can tell we're not talking about a one-group racetrack. We've got cars passed on the high side, cars passed on the low side. This is going to be a race that can be won from any spot on the racetrack.
They call it the black ice, the racing surface here, Scott, at Florence Speedway. You can run anywhere on it. Still side by side right here, Johnson and Jesse James Lay.
And a lot of rubber laid down, as you've talked about. There's been a lot of racing before the main event. And oh, we've got a problem here. Look at this, 3-4 cars involved. Let's see if we can tell anything on the replay, James.
Dale McDowell coming off of turn number 2. His car gets sideways. Mike Jewell nowhere to go, locks him up, and along comes Rick Corbin. He's involved, and all 3 cars are going to be heavily damaged, Scott.
Corbin just goes bang. There was no place for him to go. He couldn't go any lower, and he couldn't get back up the racetrack. Let's go on board with Steve Landrum. Watch how close Landrum gets to this. Beautiful evasive move to the outside. He stays out of trouble. Another driver who's able to avoid the mess, that's York, Pennsylvania driver Rick Eckert, and Rick is the subject of our Lucas Oil driver profile. Here's Ken Stout.
with 60-plus cars fighting for 24 positions. Rick Eckert did a great job in his heat race of transferring right to the A main. He's also celebrating his 25th racing anniversary behind the wheel of a race car. He's chosen a rocket chassis, and underneath the hood is some Cornet Thunder. In fact, 430 cubic inches of it that got him right to that A main. But it's that 25th anniversary where all the expertise lies. How's he going to do tonight? Well, we had a chance to speak to him.
The race is going to be a good race. I think they're going to water the top of the racetrack, so we'll be able to have 2 lanes, and it'll be a heck of a race.
Racing at this level, no question, is a full-time job. And there's plenty of times when you just don't have time to make it back home. But no question, Rick finds time for his family. And when he gets the opportunity and his daughter gets out of school, they all travel together.
I got a daughter named Courtney and my wife Crystal. And when my daughter gets out of school, they travel with us. So we'll run around, sneak away every now and then, go to an amusement park or something to keep her happy.
While Rick has had a lot of success throughout his 25 years of competition, there's been one place that's been very bothersome to him, and that would be Florence Speedway. He'd love to turn things around here tonight.
Been here a few times. This place is a thorn in my side. I've been here quite a few times, only ever won 1 race, you know, so yeah, it's been a thorn in my side, so hopefully we can come up through there tonight.
Well, so far, so good. He's hanging in there. Nice job, Ken Stout, with our Lucas Oil driver profile. But we're back under green flag conditions. Lap 4 is the restart number. And again, the battle is really all over the racetrack. We can pick anyone we want. We're going to start right now with that battle for 4th and Johnson. And there's a wheel coming off. Oh, we just talked about Rick Eckert, and he talked about the problems he'd had here at Florence. And Gremlins will bite him again. Coming back with more action from Florence. Don't go anywhere.
Eat chicken wings, buy Hooters things. Christmas is near, shop, have a beer. Christmas shopping shouldn't be hard. Simply use your Hooters MasterCard. Eat chicken wings, buy Hooters things. Shop where it's cool, right from your stool. Clothes and calendars and cookbooks. Hooters magazine is full of good looks. Eat chicken wings, buy Hooters things. Christmas is near, gift cards are here. Good at Hooters everywhere now. Buy your friends some Hooters gear, wow. Hooters gifts are always favored.
The green flag is coming back out. Lap number 7 here in Union, Kentucky at Florence Speedway. Scott Douglas, James Essick, Ken Stout doing some great work down in the pits. He caught up with Rick Eckert. You saw earlier, Eckert had a problem with the wheel coming off, so we were able to get Ken Stout to catch up with Rick and find out what the problem was.
When them guys spun out down there, I just clipped them, just barely clipped them, and I guess I broke my right rear hub, and it didn't break back when we went back green.
Talked earlier with Rick, and you know, James, it's just a tough place for us. We're on board with Scott Bloomquist, getting some great shots there, but you got to feel for Eckert. He just can't get any luck here at Florence.
Eckert, one of the nice guys in our sport of dirt late model racing, but unfortunately his night is over just 6 laps into the race.
James, what a battle we're watching here. 3 wide for 5th place, and this is the kind of action we're seeing throughout the racetrack.
Wendell Wallace, the Batesville, Arkansas driver, they're in the 88 car, battling with Jesse James Lane, the 33.
And back up front is Darrell Lanigan, the 29, continuing to hold off Scott Bloomquist in the 0. But getting some great in-car shots from Scott. How about Don O'Neill in this battle for 12th with Steve Landrum?
Down the front straightaway here at Florence Speedway, Landrum on the inside and O'Neill on the outside. And you see in front of you Pearson, Rice, and a whole bunch of cars in front of them.
What amazing onboard shots we're getting. I mean, you're right in the middle of this battle and in the thick of all these great Lucas Oil late model dirt cars, and they all want that #1 prize. Right now, Lanigan is still out front, but anywhere you look on this racetrack, you've got a battle, and it's normally side by side.
We got guys that started up front, dropped back a little bit. Now they're making their way to the front, but the guys that started deep in the pack, keep an eye on several of them. They're on their way to the front.
They are indeed. Now you can see up front, we've kind of got 4 cars in a little bit of a breakaway, if you will, even though Bloomquist likes a lot lower line than Lanigan, and I want to see if he makes that work in as this race goes on, because Bloomquist has already got to be thinking, James, where can I make the move? Where can I get him? And when you're a guy with as many wins as Scott has, he knows how to get around a racetrack.
Well, he's dealing with Darrell Lanigan. A guy knows this racetrack like the back of his hand. He grew up around here. His dad owned race cars for years. And the last couple years, though, he's been out running nationally. So maybe not a lot of track time last couple years as he'd like to have. But right now, he's showing the way.
The 4-car breakaway. And then in the back of the screen, you can see it's really tight behind him. Those top 4 have gotten away from the rest of the pack. And that's what they'd like. They'd like to be able to settle this amongst themselves without having so many friends trying to take a spot away from them.
You see Steve Hillard there in the 34 car. Shane Clinton in 25, battling it out in mid-pack. But up front, it's still Lanigan. A car on the move, that 9 car. He has several big wins here at Florence Speedway. Right there, Dan Schleifer in 3rd place.
And Sleeper is making Scott Bloomquist think about something different. That's not going for the lead. That's protecting the number 2 spot. All that's allowing is Lanigan to open up the biggest lead we've seen him get this entire main event.
And Linda Wallace, he's right there in the hunt as well in that 88 car. Scott, we started with 68 entries here tonight at Florence Speedway. Narrowed it down to 25. 7 former Ralph Latham Memorial winners in this race, including Lanigan and Bloomquist, Wallace, Mike Jewell, Scott James, Don O'Neill, and Donnie Moran. But right now, it's still Lanigan in front.
We saw just a moment ago a nice recovery from Sleeper. Looked like he was going to catch the wall. He brought her back down. Now we're going to get more side-by-side action all the way through this pack. And you can see a lot of rubbing going on, but everybody keeping her straight, at least right now.
Earl Pearson Jr., he started back in the 19th spot in that Lucas Oil number 1 car. Meanwhile, Sleeper in the 9 car, he started in the 8th spot, running in 3rd right now.
The man who's loving it, as you mentioned, is a guy who's got a lot of roots at this speedway. Darrell Lanigan, who watches the battle between 3 cars for second in his rearview mirror as he continues to open up his lead here at Florence Speedway. The biggest lead of the night for Lanigan, the number 29, but still, it's not a ton at this track. And if Bloomquist can really settle into second, he can go after him again. He's having a fight to hold on. Look, he's getting it from both sides now.
A dandy battle here. Bloomquist trying to hold off both Sleeper and Wallace. Now Wallace goes to the inside, making the bid for 3rd on Sleeper.
That was the problem for Sleeper. He tried a couple of different ways around Bloomquist. It's going to cost him the 3rd place position on the racetrack. Great action for you with the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series, as you have come to expect. This time, it's in the Cincinnati area here at Florence Speedway, and Scott Bloomquist holds on to the 2nd place position despite being challenged, and challenged big time.
Wow, Wallace and Sleeper trying to make it 3 wide with Bloomquist there, Scott. It's hard to believe this track has raced for over 50 years, and the racing is just fantastic here tonight, and these fans are loving it.
Well, the fans in the Cincinnati area have always loved great racing, because we're going to go back on board with Bloomquist. Want to show you the lead. Remember earlier, he was right up on Lanigan's rear deck. Now there's a big gap, and Scott's got a lot of racetrack that he's looking at between himself and the leader, Darrell Lanigan.
About 7 car lengths of lead for Lanigan right now. Battle for 5th. Here comes Shane Clanton on the inside, the Locust Grove, Georgia driver. And Jesse James Lay just down the road here in Verona, Kentucky. Jesse back in front of him.
Jesse James Lay. I love the nicknames. Keep bringing them, my friend. As we continue from Florence Speedway, this race is starting to settle into a pattern. But no pattern right there for Bill Blair Jr. What happened there, James? He got a whole bunch of dirt.
Got too far to the inside, heading into turn number 1. Hooked the berm with his left front wheel, and it turned him around, Scott.
That is going to bring out a caution. You got a good look at it right there. That is not a place you want to be here at Florence. And it will bring out the caution. At lap 21, Darrell Lanigan continues to lead. Scott Bloomquist running in the number 2 spot. We're coming back with more awesome Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt action. The thrills of the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series are roaring into your living room from Florence Speedway in Union, Kentucky. We get the green flag back out on this field at lap 22 with Darrell Lanigan continuing to set the pace.
Scott Bloomquist running in 2nd, then we have Sleeper, Wallace, and now Earl Pearson Jr. on the move. How about that? He's up to 5th around Jesse James Lay.
And it was a great move to get into the 5th place spot as these guys are slinging high, slinging low, trying to find which one will be the best, especially for the late moves that everybody is already thinking about that may determine who actually wins this race.
A lot of great action so far at Florence Speedway tonight, Scott. We're not even halfway done yet.
And the action just continues to be amazing when you look at it. We've seen it throughout the year already on the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series. Nobody breaks away. It's a battle each and every lap, and not just at the front, for every position on the racetrack, which is what makes this series so popular with the great race fans like the ones here at Florence Speedway. Back on board now with Steve Landrum, and he is coming down pit road. As a matter of fact, the caution flag is coming out on the racetrack, and that's going to give us a chance to let you meet Steve a little closer. Steve Landrum is the subject of our next Lucas Oil Driver Profile.
The number 18 might not be a familiar number to you in the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series, but the man behind the wheel, Steve Landrum, who comes out of Erlanger, Kentucky, inside of this C.J. Rayburn-built race car, powered with a Racetech power plant, is a very popular name and a very popular number here at Florence Speedway. He's been coming to this track for 24 years. While he's never won this particular race, in fact, has finished in the runner-up position just a couple of times, he has won 6 track championships, and it's safe to say he's very familiar with the changing conditions of this racetrack. How did he do in Quillabine? How about number 1, baby?
Well, it helps out a lot just by having experience of you know when to kind of comes automatic when to let off and use the brake and pick up the gas.
There's nothing better than watching a touring series with the best professionals in the country show up, and then a hometown favorite steps up and runs door handle to door handle with them, possibly even beats them at their own game because of his experience at his own track.
Yeah, we were lucky enough to get a good draw and get out early and to qualify, and got a decent, pretty good lap. And I didn't know if it was going to stand out, but a lot of tough cars and a lot of good drivers here, and we were lucky enough to hold on to that quick time.
There's another vicious competition going on well inside of the family, and it's going on between his son and his daughter, two future race car drivers.
Yeah, I got a little boy. It's 8 years old, and my daughter is 14, Trevor and Ashley, and they're racing quarter midgets, and it's more fun to watch them than it is to be here.
Thanks, Ken, for that profile. We're getting close to the green. Coming back out. Don't go away. We'll be right back to Florence. The Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series is rocking tonight at Florence Speedway near Cincinnati, Union, Kentucky. We get the green flag back on this field on lap 27. I'm Scott Douglas. James Essex joining me in the booth. Ken Stout getting all the stories in the infield and along pit road. And we continue to watch this battle at the front, where Kentucky native Darrell Lanigan is leading Scott Bloomquist. But Bloomquist, thanks to the yellow, has cut down all that distance between them, and he is right there.
What a great restart, as you saw, and they were going 3 and 4 wide there. Earl Pearson Jr., the #1 car, hard charger so far, 19th up to 5th. Now he's dropped back a spot or two here on the restart, but he charges back on the inside of Shane Clinton.
Can't say enough about anybody coming 14 spots up in this field as competitive as it's been all night long, but he's doing a great job, and you can see hugging the inside of the racetrack. And James, as we were developing earlier, you can pass anywhere on this track, but it still looks like most drivers, especially down those turns, want to hug that hub.
Don O'Neill, a 71 car, battle for 7th here. He started in 22nd spot here, Scott. He's on the move to the front.
We're seeing the guys who have come up through this race pack and are working their way toward the front of the field. The question is, how far can they get up? Because Lanigan has been quick, Bloomquist has been quick, and now those two are starting to break away just a little bit from the rest of the field.
You saw a shot of the 83 car, the Silver Shark, Scott James, last year's Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series Rookie of the Year. He started alongside Don O'Neill. He's made his way into the top 10 as well.
And Bloomquist is now really trying to use up the high side of the racetrack, and you know he's got to be thinking, all right, I'm going to get a shot at this guy somewhere late in the race. I know I am. Let me try it like he is now, down low. Then the next lap he'll go high. Clearly Bloomquist is trying to find out where his car is the best at.
You see, going into turn #1, Lanigan picks the inside there, and Bloomquist maintaining that outside. Lanigan for most of this race has stayed topside. Now we go 3 wide here between Greg Johnson, Matt Miller, and Jesse James Lay for position.
This is awesome. They're battling for the 9th place spot on the racetrack, and you can see they are 3 wide. Every position matters and every lap counting as we work our way to the late stages. We're going to come back with a fantastic finish here at Florence. Don't go away. Welcome back to Florence Speedway. Scott Douglas with James Essex and Ken Stout. We are getting down to it now. Just 5 to go. Lanigan over Bloomquist. When does Scott have to make his move, James?
Well, he better be making it pretty soon, Scott. We're running out of laps here. Less than 5 to go now. This time around, you see the battle between Clinton and Pearson still at it side by side for 5th.
Yeah, they're side by side for 5th. The top 4 still in that breakaway, and that's what we're keeping an eye in that battle side by side for 5th, while letting the other part of our eye make sure we stay at the front of this racetrack, because that's going to settle it over these final 3 laps between the Kentucky native, kind of the hometown boy, Darrell Lanigan, and of course the legendary Scott Bloomquist. Lanigan has kept him at bay all night long. Does Bloomquist have a move left? And he's going to have to fight for 2nd again.
We got company now for Bloomquist. Here comes Sleeper and Wallace. They're not out of it yet, Scott.
And that is taking away from Bloomquist's efforts to track down Lanigan. But we may end up 4 wide for the lead eventually, because Lanigan this time is not getting away from Bloomquist, despite the fact that he's getting these challenges. And we're getting down to the final couple of laps. This is anybody's race in that top 4.
Well, they're closing in on a little bit of traffic here. They picked up the tail end of the pack again. Will that have an effect here on the end of this race? Bloomquist to the inside trying for the lead, Scott.
That's the strongest he's been all night. He's been testing and testing. That time he got all the way to the inside. We were on the final lap, and Lanigan almost goes into the wall. Bloomquist takes the lead on the final lap. Can Lanigan come back and get him into the final turn? The fans are on their feet, and Scott Bloomquist will hold off Lanigan as they touch by 1 car length. Can you believe it?
Incredible. Lanigan leads the entire race, and they take the white flag, and either there was moisture on the track, water or oil, Scott, and he looked like he drifted up out of the group just enough, and Bloomquist was buying.
You know, that old race is saying the only lap you need to leave, it is the last one, and Scott Bloomquist shows you why that adage is true. He makes the move on the final lap. Lanigan with the problem in the turn. As Ken Stout talked about earlier, Lanigan's won here before, but not in this race, and he doesn't get it this time. Scott Bloomquist is your winner, and we want to hear some comments. Let's go down and talk to our winner.
Guys, vintage Scott Bloomquist here tonight. I just got to ask you, man, I mean, you rode around there in second place all night long. It just looked like you were being patient. It looked like you were saving tires. Was that the plan, or did you just get lucky at the end?
Well, you know, there was a little luck there, but, you know, we were pressuring him pretty hard, and we were getting under him 3 and 4, just trying to make something work. You know, really the car was super. You know, he was just tough tonight, you know. We had to catch him, and we had to pass him, and it actually looked like what happened to me a lap sooner. I had something going into 1 and 2 that made my front end take off. Looks like he hit it the next lap.
Here's the order of finish in this incredible race. Bloomquist, Lanigan, Sleeper, Wallace, and then Pearson got up in that top 5. Then Clanton, Rice, and O'Neill all giving it great runs. But you've got to talk about the unbelievable finish to this race. Bloomquist wins it on the last lap.
Call it luck, whatever you want to. Sometimes you make your own luck, and Bloomquist was in the right place at the right time, just happened to be right there. But Sleeper and Wallace, they could have snuck by both of them there. Bloomquist had gotten out of the groove.
As you get a look at the point standings, let's go to our awards for the race. The All-Star Performance Performer of the race, Earl Pearson Jr., the Quartermaster Cool Move of the race to Scott Bloomquist, the Hawk Break Tough Break Award, that goes to Rick Corbin. And let's get to our K&N Filters Clean Pass Award. You know what this is going to be.
The final lap into turn number 1, Lanigan slips up out of the groove, and Bloomquist is behind. Lanigan will take one more stab at him, Scott, here in turn number 4. But down the straightaway here, it's Bloomquist your winner.
Scott Bloomquist comes away your winner. We'll look for you next time with more great action on the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series. For James Isaac and Ken Stout, I'm Scott Douglas. See you next time at the racetrack.